Okay, so back to this property. Years ago, right here in this spot where the fire pit is now, stood my dad's camp. He built it in the 70s. By the time I took interest in the land here, it was beyond repair. So I just dismantled it and burned it up here. The place is kind of a mess now. I got a lot of work to do this summer. The main bit of work that I'm going to do is up here in this wooded area. As you can see, I've already done a lot of work. I've dragged in a bunch of logs here, and these logs are going to go into a project that I'm developing right on this slope here. I'm going to build a lean-to into the forest bed, and it's just a great spot actually. It's fairly clear up here, so this is where we're going to have our fire pit now, and this is where we're going to have our camp. Now in thinking of what to do with this land, so up beyond the trees here, where you can see is an exposed area, is a transmission line that comes through. And in that transmission line, of course, you can't build anything, but it's quite a clearing. So what I'm looking at doing is taking some of that land and developing it into a garden, as well as a nice area of sunlight for natural things to occur. It's like grow, I mean. So I'm going to transplant stuff like blueberries and other wild edibles from my lands, the lands that I've learned to harvest that stuff from elders. I'm going to bring some of those, a small bit of that, to my forest garden. I call it a forest garden. We're pretty in the thick of it down here. There's not a lot of activity out here, except we do have this is an access road for power companies, so they use the land, or they pass through the land, and because of that access road, it makes it fairly simple to get out here. And also, this is the reason for the transmission line here, where we can't grow. So this is it. This is it. They keep it clear. What happens is alders and different trees, saplings, they all get fairly big, and when they become a threat to the power lines, or if there's an issue with the power lines, then equipment comes through and cuts it all down. But if there's nothing for them to cut, for example, I go ahead and put a garden in here, then all this up here to that telephone pole, that's pretty much all good gardening area. That's part of our land. Our land goes up to the center of the transmission line. So this could be a nice, beautiful garden. The soil out here is really rich. It's full of worms and really like all sorts of vegetation happen in there. I can see wild raspberries right there as well. Wild raspberries, which reminds me, now's the time for these guys. So I'm going to do a video about harvesting wild berries. But yeah, so there's already a lot of things growing here naturally. So with that raspberry I just showed you, for example, I'm going to find some buddies of his. They're all growing right here where they are. Clear out some of the other stuff like the ferns and stuff that the dog is coming through right now. Good boy, Siggy. Take out some of that, and then that'll open it up for the raspberries to grow, and they'll sprout on their own, flourish. Plan to do the same thing with blueberries. There might be even some blueberries up here now, I don't know, but in the fall I plan on transplanting, and this is what episode 2 is going to be all about turning this land into a garden area. So there's quite a bit of work to be done here, but I'm prepared. I've been focusing on the area that I pointed out before we came up here, the big development with all the logs. In that area, I'm going to build a lean-to, which is a survival shelter. Now, obviously, in a survival situation, you're going to want to get something up as quickly as possible so you can have comfort and stay out of the elements while you, in some cases, recover from injuries. So, you know, what's important is that you're able to build a fire, find a shelter that's going to suffice for whatever you're dealing with, and it all going to be done pretty timely. So if you're trapped far away and you can't make it somewhere comfortable, you got to build somewhere comfortable. So that's what I'm going to do right here. Over here you can see the tree that I cut down. Some of the stumps left behind are kind of a good seat for logs when I go to shave them, because each of the logs in this project, we're going to have to take the bark off. I'm also thinking about burning them all, charring the outside to preserve the wood, because I do plan on keeping it for a long time. Plus it makes it look cool. It's like a black, it's almost like it's painted rather than just natural log, which gets gray and dull. So I'm gonna practice my new I'm gonna practice with my draw knife that I received in the mail. I never used one before. I'm gonna give it a shot on this log here in a moment. I'm also gonna work on digging out some of this bank. It may be difficult to tell, but so this is, I'll explain. This is gonna be the back wall of the shelter. Is gonna go along right up here to this side. That stump right there where I got the log set up for the draw knife, this tree left a stump, which I'm going to leave there, and a little wall of dirt. So that's going to be like the one side of the lean-to is going to start with this wall. This is going to be the back where I dig out the actual embankment here. I'm going to dig out some of that today. I brought a pickaxe, shovel, things I might need. So I'm going to work on that. The first thing I'm going to do, however, because the flies are so atrocious, man, they're treacherous around here. So right over here, just beyond this spool, is where the end fire pit's going to be. So I'm going to put a temporary one there for now and get a fire going. I'm making all this top stuff because this leaves and stuff that's fallen, it makes a layer on the forest floor. And that layer continues everywhere. As you can see, you can scrape up dead leaves anywhere. So it stands to reason if you light a fire here, it could possibly spread with dry vegetation all around. So I'm going to get all this out of the way. Later I'm going to use this leaves and stuff as a mulch. All of this is dead material, highly organic, perfect for compost. And combine this with some biochar. That's what I'm going to implement in the garden area that I showed before. But for now I got to get a fire going because these flies are driving me crazy. That's good enough. Now I'm going to put some rocks around. This is only temporary anyway. Just to oh, hi, Whiskey. Oh, good boy. Oh. You love giving kisses, huh? That was me. I know you're not here to appreciate it, so that's why I let it go so freely. Oh yes. Oh whoa, whoa! I love you so. Oh, whiskey boy. Okay, lie down. Lie down. Let me see your belly. Come on, rub tummy. Lie down. Oh, good boy, whiskey boy. Are you okay? Any fleas? Do you? Nah, you look okay. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Okay. Get some rocks now, boy. Put some rocks around so we can start a fire. But it was raining, so if we can get more of this. When you split the wood, the inside is dry. Obviously, more so than the outside that's been in the rain. So this is a good method for starting a fire in the rain. When it's wet, you have a hard time finding dry material. Whiskey! Don't you steal my sticks. Here, give me that. That's kindling. Come on. Aye. Aye. No. Give it. Here's your stick, look. This one's yours, look. Go get it. But the flies are already dissipating. They don't like that smoke, so I don't like to use fly dope and bug repellent unless it's natural. My wife makes some good stuff that repels ticks and stuff for the dog. Ticks and fleas don't like the smell. He doesn't like the smell either, but it works. And it doesn't have to be that chemical shit that the veterinarian recommends. Yeah, it's effective, but it's poison. Every time I give it to my dog, the first night he's always vomiting. So we feel a repellent is better. So when it comes to pests, I often don't choose to use repellent store-bought DEET shit. I'll make myself uncomfortable in a hoodie before I get a bunch of fly dope on me. And like today is 25 degrees, so it's not hoodie weather. But the hoodie is nice because the flies can't get through it. They're still pestering me, but they're not able to bite me. Now, as long as I feed that a little more dry material before it burns too much, we'll get a little fire going there. What, you want something to destroy? Huh? Today on working with old SaN. Primitive builds with natural metal utensil. We've got a draw knife, and a pickaxe. That's right, Whiskey, this is a draw knife. Careful your nose. It's a sharp blade right here with two handles. You use it by gripping and pulling along the log. This is a good tool for shaving logs. And the pickaxe, I'll let it speak for itself. You'll see that in action here shortly. Ah, it works pretty great. I think I could, when I get a better sawhorse, it'll be even better. But I can brace it here with my leg and work on it like that. Whiskies, you're the best helper I ever saw, huh? What a good boy you are, huh? What a good boy. Whiskey boy! Oh, good. Don't you go too far. Good boy. But I think the sawhorse setup like this works pretty good, because I can brace it with my body, and I can reach out, and even though it's not clamping down, it's still holding it steady between those two logs. So I got a lot of ability with this. That's a good frame there for you to generally see the edge of the camp. So where the end of the log comes out over here, the one I was working on, straight down pretty much, is our far wall. Then you're going to go into about the stump and work your way this way. That's the back wall. From there to there, basically. So in order for us to use that as a back wall, I'm going to have to take the slope off it, cut it down more of a 90 degree. I think what I'll do then, once I dig it out, is brace up the back wall with big stones. It'll be more aesthetically pleasing anyway. Nice little camp, because our bed is going to go in this corner as well, right? It's going to be just a bench which you can sleep on, sitting across from the fire right here. And big shout out to the boys at the electrical company for hooking me up with that spool. They told me, I seen a few of them there, I'm like, how's about setting me up? Because it makes a really great seat or table. So yeah, he said, no, we don't give those out, but just so happens these are 3 from a different contractor or something like that. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna dig out some of this hillside. There's a lot of rock and stone in there. The larger boulders you've probably seen lying out, all of that stuff I'm going to use in the roadway to get up to the transmission line where the garden's going to be. So whatever I get of this, stockpiling over here. And that leaves beautiful rich topsoil actually. It's so good here. So maybe that topsoil will come in handy to plant somewhere. I'm going to stockpile that as well. digging out this whole square. I'm gonna put a camp in there. I think Whiskey figured out that sitting by the fire keeps the flies away. Atta boy, Whiskey. Siggy boy.